What's going on YouTube? Mike here with iHeart Knives, and in this video we're going to be doing an unboxing and first impressions of this guy from KME User. Go ahead and open this guy with the Paramilitary 2 K390. I've been carrying this quite a bit alongside the knives that Mike from Mike Likes Knives gave to me. Or not gave to me, but let me borrow. John sent me a message, KME User sent me a message on Instagram the other day, and he said that he wanted to send me a knife, and it was basically like, hey, how's it going? I'm sending you a knife. Is your address still the same? Cool. Do what you want with it. Let me know how the edge was, and like that was it. I was like, cool. Address is the same. Thank you. And we went over like parameters and stuff. Like if you wanted me to sharpen it before I sent it back and stuff like that. But just the fact that he was willing to send this knife to me, let me borrow it, didn't care how long, said put it through the paces. I'd like to see a cut test. It's pretty mind-blowing for somebody to do it, but in this knife community, it seems like all of us, have that faith in each other that we're good people, and not to get sappy or anything, but that's what's so cool about this knife community. All right, let's get right into it. I'm pretty excited about this. I obviously know what it is. Oh man. Oh. Oh, that's so dope. Man. This is the excitement that I got from my Microtech when I first saw my Microtech Silicon Elite. This is kind of along the same lines as that. I think because the because the Silicon Elite was the first time I had felt that kind of action, and the weight and like the weight distribution and just everything about it, I was mind blown. But this has a very similar feel and action that is just like snappy as fuck. And being that it's a heavy blade and a light frame, I mean, you can really feel when it opens up, it just like kicks, and it feels a lot like the Silicon Elite in that sense. They're not even close to the same knife. They're so far apart, it's ridiculous. But just that, the way that the action feels loaded, and just the way that it kicks, and the weight of the blade just flies out, like that detent is dialed in perfectly to load so that you can put pressure behind it, and then it just kicks right open. Man, this thing is sweet. And you can front flip it, which, I just did it on a whim because I've been doing it with my large Incosi. I've been front flipping it, and it has jimping that's kind of similar to the large Incosi. And I figured because because of the detent, it would probably, be able to be front flipped, and in fact it is. I'm just like kind of awestruck with it, and I can't believe I forgot to say the name of the knife. So for anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's a Spyderco Paysan. Just a really sweet knife. This is a stonewash finished CPM S90V, so it's a good steel. The edge on this is incredibly thin. It has a hollow grind that was redone. John sent it out, or KME user sent it out to be reground. He had it ground much thinner, and titanium. It's all milled out of a single piece of titanium. That's where a lot of the cost is. Everything's chamfered. The only thing I'm like not hugely in love with is the inside of the titanium right here. Just feels a little, not sharp, but it's just like kind of squared off. But at the same time, it's kind of understandable, just because this has to be really difficult for them to machine and manufacture. But the blade to handle weight ratio, like this blade just feels like it's carrying 3/4 of the weight of the knife. The titanium, you can really feel how light the handle is, and it's fairly thin, but it's still tall enough in the handle that you got something to grab onto. The action on it is just insane, and it's kind of to be expected, just because it's an expensive knife. You want the action to be dialed in, that's for sure. And once you get it past that break, once it gets it at 90 degrees, it'll just fall shut the rest of the way, pretty much. So right there, and then there's just a touch, a little bit of a shake at the very end. But I really like the jimping. It is so reminiscent of the large and Cosi. It's just a little bit more polished. Doesn't feel as sharp as the large and Cosi. Not that the large and Cosi has sharp jimping, but it is a little bit more sharp than this. They did a really nice job with the angle of the lock bar. That it's at probably about 40 to 50% lockup, and it doesn't look like it's going to be moving from there. The only thing I'm not in love with this knife is the clip. I feel like the clip was kind of like an afterthought. It was like, all right, we got to throw this Spyderco clip on and make this a Spyderco. It feels like a kind of like a custom knife, or like a mid-tech level knife. But then once you get the Spyderco clip on, it's like it's production Spyderco. Everywhere else, it doesn't feel that way though. It's a really long blade too, but the fact that this has a custom grind and is so thin, this thing, it's got to be just stupid slicey. All right, guys. So the Paysan and the Domino, and Domino looks like the Domino's bevel is just a little bit bigger, but I have sharpened this a couple times too, so that could definitely be part of it. It's right at 14 thousandths. And let's see what this one is. This one's about 12 thousandths. Maybe even just under 12. I can't remember off the top of my head who did the regrind on this. But whoever did it just did a fantastic job. Somebody will remind me who did it. But I can't remember off the top of my head. The stonewash and the Spidey hole on this Python reminds me a lot of the Spyderco Southern. Just the feel of it is a lot like the Spyderco Southern. Very, very similar stonewash. It's a Peter Rosenti design. It's a Reeve integral frame lock. It has a stainless steel lock bar insert. It has all one-piece construction, titanium. It does ride on bearings, so that's why you get this ultra smooth ride. The lockup is really nice. It's funny, you actually have to put a little bit of strength behind it to remove the lock, but then once it lets go, the detent is just dialed in so well that it just drops right shut. Now let's do some quick size comparisons. Do paramilitary 2, and they're actually about the same in overall handle length. They're like literally identical, and then the blade of the Python is like 3/4 of an inch longer. Cutting edge is over an inch longer. It's pretty significant. Paramilitary 2, you get the 50/50 choil, and that's what makes the difference. Since we already talked about it before, go ahead and do a Domino. I know Domino is one of John's knives that I'm not sure if it's a favorite of his, but I know he likes Dominoes a lot. And again, the handles are about the same, but the Python's longer for sure. And blade length, you get significantly more with the Python, both in cutting edge and overall blade length. You get about 3/4 of an inch in overall blade length, but then actual cutting edge you get probably like 1.25 inches more, because you get a 50/50 choil with this like you do the paramilitary 2. Let's do Spyderco military, and this is actually one of John's old knives that he sold to me, the 204P Spyderco military. And Spyderco military is bigger. It has about an inch more handle, or just under an inch, and then cutting edge is actually, our blade length is actually about the same, but the 50/50 choil is the reason for that. You actually get more cutting edge with the Python by just a little bit, but the overall length is actually just about the same. Let's do the Hogue Ritter RSK Mark II, and then their handle lengths are about the same. Blade length, you get about a 1/2 inch more with the Python overall, and then cutting edge, actually overall and cutting edge are about the same, about a 1/2 inch, maybe just a little bit more than a 1/2 inch. And we'll do the Para 3, which obviously gets dwarfed by it, about 3/4 of an inch more handle, and then overall blade length you get about an inch more, maybe even a little bit more than an inch, and then cutting edge you get probably about 1.5 inches more, because this has the 50/50 choil as well. And actually, let's do a width comparison. So paramilitary 3 or Para 3 is probably about, actually they might be pretty close. The middle of the Python is as wide as the Para 3, or about as wide, but it gets beveled at the top here. So because it gets beveled, it looks much thinner at the very top, where the spine of the knife and the top of the handle are. So it looks much thinner here, but then it widens out in the middle, and then it feels about the same. So it's probably like the standard, you know, 1/2 inch width that Spyderco likes to go with. Yeah, I mean, it seems like most knives are about 1/2 inch wide. Well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of knives are about 1/2 inch wide, or maybe just under. Yeah, this is maybe just under 1/2 inch. Still can't believe that action though. That's really nice. And I'm not one for action or like a huge action guy, but when you get a knife to drop shut, anybody who says it's not fun to have a drop shut knife is probably lying. You know, there's always that fidget factor, unless you're just like, I don't know, you just like don't give a shit, I guess. But I think most people, if they have the same knife and one has a fun action to play with and one doesn't, they're probably going to pick the one that has the fun action. So yeah, I'll put it through its paces, you know, within reason. I'm not going to beat this thing up. It's way too nice of a knife to put scratches and stuff on, in my opinion, and I don't really want to be the one to do that. So I'll do some knife testing. Being that the edge is really thin, I'm not going to be doing anything crazy with it. I'll probably do a cardboard cut test, probably do some sharpening, and I'll probably carry it for a couple days. I probably won't carry it with me when I paint, just because I don't want to get any paint or any shit on it. But you know, I'll carry it around the house, and I think we have some stuff going on this weekend, so I'll probably carry it with me this weekend. So yeah. Alright guys, I want you to leave it in the comments and thank KME User for sending the knife to the channel to let us borrow it. John, thank you very much. I really appreciate you sending the knife. Basically no questions asked. This thing is fun. I haven't stopped playing with it since I opened it, and it's a really cool knife. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Give a thumbs up for KME User for sending this thing to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe or consider subscribing, and hit the bell so you guys get notifications when I post new videos. I have a lot of stuff in the queue. I've been doing a ton of editing, so I'll be getting a bunch of videos coming out to you guys. Been doing a lot of cool stuff lately. If you guys have any questions about the knife or anything with the channel, leave them in the comments or email me at iheartknives@yahoo.com. And that's pretty much going to do it for this one, guys. So thanks for coming along, and I'll see you guys on the next one.